Good afternoon. It's Friday, April 18th, and I got this bow I made that's called Once Broken. You see on my video, I made it in the middle of tillering it. I had a grain lift in the limb, in the middle of the limb. I was able to take it down to a growth ring, as crazy as that sounds, and I got a nice shootable bow out of it. I didn't back it. I chose not to. I figure let the bow choose its own destiny, whether it's going to make it or not. I used this beautiful burgundy leather dye on it yesterday, and I gave it a first coat of soft satin polyurethane, and then early this morning I put the name on it, the weight, and then I gave it a little coat of warm satin polyurethane over that too. So it has two full coats of warm satin polyurethane. It has the name and a coat of satin polyurethane over the name. Everything's all dry. I put a rest on it. I made an X99 tapered twist string. I set the knock, check the brace height. I'm going to string it up. Always check the knocks and the string grooves. Everything's good. You see the puff silencers, they're brand new. Okay, we got them puffed up nice. Now when I shot this the other day with these 700 spline and trotters with 75 grain tips, they were really fast, super high. So when I teach people to shoot, I usually teach them to have an anchor point of, dependent on if they got a lightweight bow and a short draw, I have them come back 3 under to the top finger to the corner of the mouth, because that'll give you more trajectory. If they're like 28 inches or have a heavier bow, 3 under, middle finger to the corner of the mouth, so the arrows don't fly so high over the target. So yesterday, I shot 2 different ways. I put the point below the belly of that bear target and hit, and I also looked down the arrow and was able to hit it. So I'm going to try today. I want to talk to you about how people shoot, the stance. I just want to go over a few things with you. They used to teach us years ago the archer's tee. Your arms are out. Let me go back further so you can see. Okay, your arms are out, your feet are shoulder width apart, you're comfortable. Turn your head, look down, bring your arm over. And that's how they used to teach you to stand. It's like an Olympic shooter sort of. And I want to show you, when you stand like that, look how close the string is to my arm. Can you see how close the string is to my arm? And if you stand with a little bit of an open stance, like 25, 30 degrees open stance, look how far away the string is from your arm now. When you have that little bit of open stance, it is away from your arm. And for most of us traditional hunters, traditional archers, we hunt, we shoot 3D, we shoot in cold weather, and you need to have a little bit of distance between the string and your arm if you have a jacket or coat on. The other thing too is, if you watch some of these coaches that were basically trained in Olympic shooting, they kind of teach you to shoot upright. Well, you could shoot either upright with these bows if they're cut past center, or cant, okay? But these traditional bows are mostly designed to be shot canted. And I just want to show you this. If you just take your hand and you throw it out, right, and you don't hyperextend your arm, you just take it and throw it out. You see that little bit of an angle? That's a natural cant. Compound shooters tuck their fingers under. Olympic shooters tuck their fingers under and keep the bow upright. Okay, let me show you. Let me stand back even further. Okay, like that. And what we do is, traditional archers, we use that natural cant to lay the bow in. So every time we throw the bow in our hand and we use this natural cant, and you don't hyperextend your arm, you just put it out there, you're going to have that natural cant. So then once you do that all the time, if you have the proper spline arrows, you'll be fairly consistent, okay? You'll be grouping arrows for sure, okay? With that, using that grip and having a solid anchor, okay? You'll be shooting fairly consistent. Then what you want to do is take a bass shaft and a flet shaft and shoot them together and see if your arrows are stiff or weak. Now, if you don't want to go through all that, once you start grouping, if you start close, like let's say 5 yards, 10 yards, if you're right-handed, as you start coming back and your arrows start impacting to the left, your arrows are stiff. As you're close and they start impacting to the right, they're weak, okay? So for a stiff arrow, you could try putting a heavier point. For a weak arrow, a lighter tip, or you'll have to change the spine, or if you have enough room, you got to make sure you got enough room forward that you can shorten the arrow a little at a time. That's why I use hot glue. I always use hot glue, and there's a lot of reasons for the hot glue, but you could heat up the tips. You leave a tip on and you heat it up, and you're able to pull it out with pliers and cool it off in a little water, and that allows you to shorten a little bit. You can reheat it, glue it in, and put it back, and you can repeat the process over and over again with hot glue and tune your arrows if it's weaker to make it stiffer, okay? So the hot glue is really good to use. So today, I want to talk about just having good shooting form, trying to be a shooting machine. We're going to talk about a couple different things. I tell everybody that never pick up somebody's bow and arrow and use it, because if, let's say, a lot of parents will say, let me shoot my kid's bow. And if their arrows are short and they pull it back past the riser and let go, guess where the arrow's going? The arrow's going to go through their wrist, and they're going to go to the emergency room. So you always want to make sure that if you know what your draw length is, there's a few different ways, but know what your draw length is. The best way is to have a really long arrow, pull back, have somebody on this side of the riser mark it with a magic marker right in front of the riser, and then you add 2 inches for the arrow length. And the reason you add 2 inches for the arrow length is sometimes you get excited at the target, you pull back a little more, a little less. You always want it in front of the riser. You may want to go hunting one day and have a broadhead on there, and you see the biggest deer you ever saw in your life, and you get excited and you pull back a little past your anchor and you cut your fingers because you overdrew the bow, okay? So those are the few things I want to talk about. You're going to watch me do a little shooting, and what we're going to talk about is good form. Have a stance that you're comfortable with. 25 degrees, 30 degrees, whatever it may be for you, shoulder width apart, and keep your shoulders in line with your feet. Because what some people will do is when they whack their arm, is if they don't keep their shoulders in line with their feet, as they draw them back a bow, especially when that's too heavy for them, they pull back, and look, they're twisting their chest, their shoulders, they're twisting. And look at the string. You see the string? It twists, and it comes back against your arm. All right? So what I want to do is I want to be a shooting machine. I come back. I happen to shoot 3 under. I'm going to shoot like yesterday. The top finger to the corner of the mouth, it's going to shoot a little high. And I'm just going to show you that for a reason. I'm going to touch anchor. I'm going to keep my hand against your face. Keep your hand against your face and your elbow all the way back. No chicken wing. Okay, when you got it all the way back and you release, you keep your hand there. If you use back tension, and back tension is this 30-degree downward wrap around of your shoulder. It's like if you're outside working and you're tired and your arms are aching and you want to yawn, you go, that's the range of motion for back tension. It's not straight back, it's a wrap around, and you maintain your hand against your face when you release. Okay, so here we go. It's skinned off the back, and that's exactly what I wanted to show you. I put the point on the belly, and it's skinned off the back. And we know from yesterday's shooting that this is a really fast bow arrow combination. So now let me show you what happens. Like I told you, we're going to do the middle finger to the corner of the mouth and put it on the belly. Okay, lower. I found it a little hard. I don't shoot like that. I found it a little hard, but look, you see how it went lower? We're going to put another one down there, and I'm going to be a little more comfortable. I'm going to make sure I touch the middle finger in the corner of my mouth, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, now you see it went right there. You see that? So there's a couple of things when you're shooting I don't want you to do. I hear stories of guys hunting all the time, and they say, you know, I shoot 15, 20 yards all the time and I can't miss. I went hunting and I missed a deer and I don't know what happened. And I'll say to them, did you shoot under? And they say, yeah, I shot under the deer. Okay, so if they shoot under, what it is they see the biggest deer of life, or the first time they ever saw a deer in the woods, and they're putting the tip of the arrow, let's say, on the bottom of the belly for it to rise in, and they want to watch the arrow hit the deer. So they do this. They drop the bow before the arrow clears the shelf. It's called peeking. They're peeking. They want to watch the arrow hit the animal. And they shoot underneath the deer. Okay, if you have a noisy bow, it's different when a deer drops. You sometimes shoot over the back because you've got a noisy bow. But if you shoot underneath and you've been shooting at that range all along, chances are you wanted to watch, even subconsciously, you wanted to watch that arrow hit the deer and you dropped your arm. So here's a couple of rules. No peeking, no plucking. Keep your hand tight on your face, and when your elbow's all the way back, everything's in line, there's less of a chance of you plucking because everything's in line. And if you release with back tension, it's going to go that wrap around, that 30-degree wrap around your face. Or if you use static like I do, you still feel your back, squeeze your back, and just keep your hand there, and it'll keep it from coming off your face. Okay, a lot of guys that pluck, sometimes they're just overbowed. And they're pulling back, and they got a little bit of a chicken wing just trying to get it there, and they let go. Okay, so don't be overbowed. Elbow all the way back. So no peeking, no plucking, and no dropping your arm. You know, dropping your arm is different than peeking. Let's say you're at a 3D tournament and you're at target number 25 of 30 and you're just getting tired. You're just getting tired. And it's not that you're watching the arrow, you're up there and you just can't wait to get the shot over with, and you let go and your arm comes down because you're fatigued, you're tired. So for the 2 seconds, no matter how exhausted you are, how tired you are, when you're up there and you got to make the shot, breathe in, shoulders up, breathe out, shoulders down, and say to yourself, I'm going to be strong for just this second, 2 seconds. I'm going to touch anchor and I'm going to keep my hand up on target after I release. I taught a couple of women and I told them, I showed them some pictures. For some reason, they take a lot of pictures of Olympic archers where they have a loose grip with a finger sling and the bow's flipped. Their hand is still up here against their face and the bow hand is still up on target, and you see the arrow in flight. So to make them convey the message to them, I told them, I want to pretend that you are going to get a photograph and be on the cover of a magazine for traditional archery, and you're going to have good form. Your hand's going to be against your face, your hand's going to be up, and the arrow's going to be in flight because you're not going to drop your arm. Pose for the picture. Strike a pose, I told them. And that idea of, you know, being a shooting machine, um, and keeping your hand up will make you a terrific shot. Okay, I'm trying to think some other things to tell you there. You have to trust the shot. When you get up there, don't have doubts. Say, okay, I know it's going to go in there. Sometimes, after your experience for a while, and you release, before that arrow hits the X, you know it's going to hit the X. Everything just feels correct, okay? And you'll get to that point. So now, I really don't, we're at the 20-yard mark in my backyard. That bear target's like 15, and we're trying to figure out the ranges because I'm going to take this for a 3D shoot tomorrow. So I got a couple arrows. So if I touch the middle finger to the corner of my mouth and put it on the belly of that bear, it'll hit. It'll hit maybe in the 8 ring right now. The other thing that I'm going to show you a little trick for, like this 10 yards or closer, okay? 10 yards up to 15 yards is looking down the arrow. So that bear is, you know, like maybe 17, 18 yards. So I'm going to look down the arrow and put it on top of a 10 ring and see what happens. And how do you look down the arrow? So right here, above your cheekbone, right next to your eye, is a little depression. And you can't do this with glasses. It's too hard to do this with glasses. And I tried. But when you come back, elbow all the way back, the top edge of your hand goes in there, and you're looking down the arrow like you're looking down the barrel of a shotgun. And we're going to do that now, and we're going to put the point on top of what would be the 10 ring, because that's like 15 yards, 17 yards. Okay, let's see what happens. As a matter of fact, let me move up a little bit here. Now we're probably at 15 yards, okay? Okay, pretty good. This is second day shooting a bow. It's pretty good. I'm looking down the arrow. I put it on top of what would be the 10 ring, and I kind of hit on the top of the 10 ring. Okay, so looking down the arrow is good from like 15 yards and under. All right, now we're going to try 20. And because these are flying high, and I'm now touching the middle finger to the corner of my mouth, which I have to get used to, and I better not forget at the range tomorrow. But we're going to try point on at 20 and see what happens. I'm going to try and be that shooting machine. Elbow all the way back. Keep my hand up. Tip of the arrow, point on, and we're going to see where it goes. This is the second day, and the only time I shot this bow was during a video. New string, you know, new finish on it, and this is the second time I'm shooting it. So let's try point on at that 20-yard deer target and see what happens. Middle finger to the corner of my mouth because it's a little fast. Okay, it went a little low. So now I'm going to try, because I'm experimenting, because I gotta figure out how this bow is shooting for me. So I'm going to try the top finger to the corner of my mouth. Instead of putting the point on, I'm going to put it on the belly and see how that works. Okay, right on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down, and I'm going to show you the arrows, and I'm going to talk about, right now what we're doing is we're gap shooting. We're putting the point closer, lower, and as we go back, higher, higher, there'll be a point on, and then we got to go above the target for the arrows to hit. Okay, we'll take a walk down and do a little talking. Okay, this bear target here was the middle finger to the corner of my mouth, and this is looking down the arrow at the top of the 10 ring. You see it hit at the top of the 10 ring. So looking down the arrow, for me, out to 15 yards is going to work. I'm not going to go middle finger anymore to the corner of my mouth. I'm going to stay either top finger to the corner of my mouth or look down the arrow at 15 yards. Just so you know, if you're at 10 yards, you'll have to put it, like I put it at 10 yards, you may have to put it on the bottom of the 10 ring so it'll rise up. Okay, closer, lower, further, higher. Now let's see, when we go to look at this 20, we're going to do a little talking. Okay, so top finger to the corner of my mouth underneath the deer, hit the 10 ring, right? So what you have to figure out is, what's the distance here? What could I fit on the belly of that deer to the center of the 10 ring or the X? So what would fit under there? Soda can or a 16 ounce bottle of water. I'd say the distance from the belly to there is like a 16 ounce bottle of water. So why is that important to use a visual aid like a bottle of water for the gap, okay? And the reason is, now we're going to shoot at this little raccoon here, and where's the 16 ounce bottle of water? You'll actually have to put the point, the tip of the arrow, down here in the dirt, and it'll rise up into there, okay? So that distance, if you figure out where a 16 ounce bottle of water would be, you know, you'd probably have to put the tip right here in the dirt for it to go up into the raccoon. So we're going to go back. I'm going to stop it here. We're going to go back, and at 20 yards, we're going to shoot the little raccoon. And I'm going to put the point here, and we'll see what happens, okay? Okay, we're back here at 20 yards, and I'm going to try to hit that raccoon. And what I have to do is put it down at the feet of that raccoon, like the tip's got to be like touching the dirt. And that'll be like that 16 ounce water bottle. And the reason I'm doing this is just to show you, to see if it works or not. And once again, when you start going further back, like we are at 20 yards, you have to really be that shooting machine. You have to keep your hand up on target and your hand against your face. That no peeking, no plucking, no dropping your arm really applies the further you go back. So here we go. Okay, 16 ounce soda bottle. Let's go take a look. Okay, it works. The 16 ounce water bottle, I shot the bottom of the bottle. I aimed for the bottom of the bottle with the tip of the arrow, and we got a 10. Now, you know, I just made this yesterday because of the video that I posted. So this is the second day I'm really shooting this, you know, and I'm trying to figure out where it hits so I could go shoot 3D with this tomorrow. And I figure while I'm out here shooting, I hope you guys don't mind. If you're experienced, you could just go past this. But this is more for the new people, okay, that are into traditional archery. Hopefully you pick up a few pointers and you'll be able to hit the target a little better, okay? So once again, I'm just going to cover a few things. Your stance slightly open. Keep your feet and your shoulders in line. Draw back, touch anchor. Don't hyperextend your arm because you'll get recoil, right? Use the tip of the arrow. If you have a shorter draw, or a lower poundage bow, top finger to the corner of the mouth will give you enough trajectory to get out there. If you've got a long draw or you got a heavy bow, go 3 under, middle finger to the corner of your mouth. It'll bring the arrow down a little bit so you're not shooting over the back of the animals, okay? You'll be hitting the target, all right? So that's it for today. This isn't about me shooting and hitting the target. It's just me trying to get others to have a little bit better form and have more fun, a more pleasurable experience shooting by hitting the target, all right? So that's it for this video. Real short. Just wanted to give you some tips, all right? Every day you wake up is a good day. Get out and shoot. Make the best of it. And if you get a chance, make a bow. It's part of archery. Get a tree from a woodlot. Get permission to get some white wood. Nice straight piece of white wood, 6 foot. Okay. And make a bow. Right? Watch my videos. Go to Keith Shannon Outdoors. Get his fire hardening video. You could cut down a tree and you can make a bow in a couple of days. Like this. And be shooting it. Okay? Thanks for watching.